Welcome to the Parkland Report. I'm Stephanie Stewart, Vice President for Communications and External Affairs here at Parkland College, and this is the show where we talk to the people making things happen here at Parkland. Today I have three special guests and two in our first segment. I have Deane Geiken and Adam Porter with me. Deane is the director of WPCD, the college radio station, and Adam is a member of the faculty in communications and music and also works with our Perimeter Road sound recordings. So welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
So I was preparing for the show today and I was like, the music guys are on the show. This is going to be a great episode. And I love that we're talking to you guys together. We've done it different ways in the past. So what's new?
Well, we've got a great crop of COM 141 and 142 students who are on the air at WPCD. The 141 students are preparing to go on the air. The 142 students are fantastic this semester. And we're just really kind of running and gunning at the radio station. I got an intern again this semester, so things are getting busier. It's kind of getting back to that pre-pandemic activity level at the radio station.
Excellent.
And we're just adding all kinds of great new music and product onto the radio station.
Great. Adam, what about you? What's the
latest? In addition to what Deane mentioned with the new radio students, which has been fantastic, the classes are going great. We also have the advanced music recording class going this semester. So the students are diving deep into some really advanced techniques and skills in the recording studio. And in addition to that, we're really busy with the record label, Perimeter Road, as we are planning and preparing for our third music festival, which will be happening at the end of this semester. And we are mixing and mastering an EP for an album that we'll be releasing at the end of this semester as well.
Awesome.
So lots of exciting things going on.
There are lots of exciting things. So Deane, you'd mentioned radio station and students are on air and they're behind the scenes doing all of that ins and outs. So talk a little bit about what those students are preparing for, like what our students are looking to gain out of that experience, either career-wise or just something interesting to explore.
It'll be a first-hand experience on honing their skills as being a communicator. Being behind the microphone of a radio station is a great way to kind of hone your skills as being off-the-cuff, creative, with both your voice and your production talent, because a lot of the projects that they work on they get to use also in their radio show, making some of the products that intro their show, or maybe a PSA or something like that for Parkland. But it translates into more than just being a DJ. You also, and Adam can talk on this too, it translates very well into being, if you want to go into streaming or podcasting or anything like that, knowing how to use your voice correctly and all the proper techniques to get you that much further down the road to being a successful communicator.
Yeah, I've noticed that more and more just in this environment. No matter what industry you're in, there's that digital communication component to whatever job or industry, and how you communicate whatever service or company you might be part of in the future. So what do you think your students are taking away, Adam?
Yeah, so just to piggyback on what Deane said and what you just said, something that I tell my students consistently is that the skills that they're learning in the class, yes, they're going to help you become an awesome DJ, they're going to help you be successful in the broadcast industry, but maybe that's not your particular career goal. And what I try to make students aware of is that these skills, these good communication skills, being able to use my voice effectively, and also having media production techniques and skills under my belt makes you more hireable, more promotable in basically any media industry. So it's not just radio and television, but think about the film industry, which requires a ton of sound professionals to make a film come together. Think about the video game industry, the largest growing media industry in the United States. Every video game requires sound professionals to make that stuff work. So just showing students that in addition to becoming a DJ, like Deane said, it applies to streaming, it applies to podcasting, it applies to the video game industry, the film industry, the television industry, and it just makes you more hireable and more marketable as a media professional. So
yeah, one of the things I was thinking about too is the influencer culture, and also just entrepreneurism is also tied. So it's really an exciting career path.
Yes.
And your entities of the college, what's so interesting is that it's that student learning, but also a cultural asset to the broader community. And we were talking before we started just about programming and how we curate what's on the air, how it goes on the air, and our process is a little bit kind of different and unique. So can you share some behind the scenes?
It's a formula that works for the radio station, for WPCD, and you're right. I mean, we're kind of the voice of Parkland College, so we keep that in mind, that when you listen to the radio station, we want it to be fun. We want it to be, enjoyable to listen to. So we get a lot of promotional material from artists or labels and such, and we will also look at other sources for new music. I was talking with Jason, who is our music director and audio production specialist, and in just the last 12 days, we've added 25 new songs into our lineup, which is kind of unusual for most radio stations. Most radio stations will kind of hold on to their top 30 for a good month or so, and then maybe a couple will drop out or move up and such like that. But we don't care. We want to hear good music. It's got to fit, one, our alternative format, or our alternative rock is our format, with a little side of punk and a little side of pop included. But it has to be fun to listen to. It has to be enjoyable. It has to have a certain attitude. You should not be very emo listening to our station.
Yeah, I think the drive-in, it fits perfectly. You're heading to Parkland, you're starting your day or you're ending your day, and it definitely kind of has that vibe that our student body has as well.
Yes.
So that's very cool. And Adam, with Perimeter Road sound recordings, you could go into a little more detail, but you're deep diving with a single artist each year. So can you talk about that process and who the artist is currently?
Sure. So, one of our main goals with the student staffed record label here at Parkland is to connect with the amazing music community in Champaign-Urbana. Anybody who knows about the music community here knows that it's just chock full of talent. There's tons of awesome bands and artists out there, and a lot of them don't have the money to book a recording studio, to record an EP, to record an album, to even record a single. So while my students are looking for the opportunity to work on real projects, we're hoping that it can be a win-win scenario where we can provide free recording services for these awesome talents out in our community. So anytime that we have a new semester coming up with an opening for a new band, we put out a call for submissions, and local artists and bands can say, hey, check out our demo, and we make it a very democratic process with the students. I don't want to be like, well, me and Deane say we like this one the best, so that's who we're recording. All the students get to vote, everybody gets a say, and really the one that comes out on top with the most interest is the band or artist that we make an offer to. And the goal is that the students can then take ownership of that project, really dive deep into it, and see it through to the end and have that be a real line on their resume that shows that they've done something beyond just get a degree. So our current band that we have signed is Poisoned Rationality. This is a local band, awesome 4-piece band, good just kind of pop punk rock music, and we are finished tracking, which is the recording process for the album. We finished that at the end of last semester, and we have now moved into the mixing phase of the project. So this spring we're working on balancing all the tracks, adding all of the fun processing and effects, basically turning these raw recordings into what sound like finished, polished songs. We'll wrap that process up with sequencing and mastering the album, and then we'll be releasing it at the end of April.
That's very exciting. So how will someone find this album once it's done?
So we release all of our work basically on all of the major streaming services. So we'll be promoting it big time. If you wanted to listen to it on something like Spotify or Apple Music, you would just search for the band title, Poisoned Rationality. But anybody can always find anything that Perimeter Road has produced and released by going to our Bandcamp page, which is perimeterroad.bandcamp.com, which has every release we've done since we've been an entity all the way back in 2015.
Great. How has the style changed from year to year or evolved over time in your mind? Is every year distinct and different, or has there been an evolution of sorts?
I would say yes. Every year, I think we make an effort to make it sound a little bit different or be just a little bit different.
Yes. Yeah. I think a diversity in styles and sounds is important. And so We've done a number of different styles, genres, and also types of projects. So in addition to signing full bands, we've also signed individual artists and worked with session musicians to build and flesh out their songs to make an album. And then we've also tapped into our own talent within the label and done what's called the Perimeter Road Singles Series, where we release a single from individual Parkland student artists, one each month, and then that ends up becoming a full EP that we release as a full project. So we've bounced around between hard rock, indie pop, hip hop, just a little bit of this, that, and everything to hopefully, keep it fresh and keep it always fun as we move forward every semester.
Yeah, I'm sure our students all have different, favorite artists or styles too, so it's reflective then of just the diverse students that we have.
Yeah.
And, here's kind of an out of the box question, maybe not so out of the box, but how has the music scene changed since COVID? That's been something I've been wondering about. Is the music scene just as vibrant? Has it all come back the way that maybe it was before then, or are there still challenges with people coming out to shows and things like that? Because I know we're looking forward to the music festival, but interested in your insights on that.
Are you speaking locally here, the music scene?
Locally, yes.
I'm going to let Adam speak on that because he's more involved with that than I am.
Okay.
So I would say that it had a huge impact. There's no denying that.
Yeah.
Obviously, everything shut down, which was a huge blow to a lot of local artists and bands who rely on live shows and live performances, not only gigging as a profession, but as a way to promote the other aspects of their music, like selling merch and getting people to listen to their new releases and all of that stuff that goes into performing live. So yes, it had a huge impact. I think it had a positive impact in a way that it forced a lot of musicians, artists, bands, labels to adapt to new digital technologies and learn new ways to connect with their audiences. So what you saw during the pandemic was a lot of bands and labels starting to do live streams, starting to tap into new ways to perform or stay in contact with their audiences that they hadn't done before, and they were kind of forced into these new ways of doing these things. So I view that as kind of a positive outcome in that as we've kind of seen the music scene start to revitalize itself, we're still seeing the streaming and things happening. And I think that's just adding to like accessibility and more people being able to be involved in the music scene and see live shows and things like that. As far as where we're at now, I feel like we're back in full swing.
Yeah.
We're back in action. Anybody who's going to live shows in the Champaign-Urbana area knows that there's always something going on every week at numerous venues. Shout out especially to the Rose Bowl Tavern, which is one place that really I felt kept the local music scene really going through the pandemic and has just been a go-to place for super high quality shows pretty much every week. So it's just it's fantastic to see the live scene revitalized and back in the swing.
That's very good. Yeah, kind of good insight too on the music business, how that had to evolve, but that we're keeping kind of the best parts of it as we move forward.
Yes.
So tell me about a little bit more about the festival that's coming up, kind of what people can expect and what they should come out for.
Sure. So we've got the third music festival put on by Perimeter Road Sound Recordings, the student-staffed record label here at Parkland, and we're super excited. So we did our first festival before COVID, and we were all ready to do Festival 2. We were prepping that spring. We had all the bands booked, and then the pandemic hit, the college closed, the festival was canceled. We weren't able to do it for a couple of years. And then last year, we were able to do it again. Finally, we were able to do the second Perimeter Road Music Festival in 2022. It was extremely successful. And we're just looking to build on the successes that we've already had in the past. So this year we are in the planning stages, and Deane can kind of touch on some of the things we're doing right now.
We're working with some of the students to book bands now. We're reaching out to the bands, making offers to them to see if they'll be able to sign with us in terms of contracting to be at the concert. We're also working on developing some marketing and promos and things like that so that the students have a real hands-on experience planning a music festival. Adam and I could do it, but that's not the goal. We want them to do that. So we're working on inviting 6 bands at this point right now. We're ready to send out the invitations. Hopefully all 6 of them will say yes. Poison Rationale will actually be not our headliner, but our first band, because that's the band that has signed with the record label. And then we're hoping to have some vendors out there, some community vendors. We want to reach out to the community to make it a festival for them too. So people who have like homemade items and things like that they want to sell, they can come in, no charge, and they can be part of the community and the festival.
That's amazing. Well, that'll be really exciting. It's a great opportunity to invite more people in to not just hear the great music from the local scene and our label, but then, just have it be a community event where people can come to campus and have a great time.
It'll be a party in the B1 parking lot.
That's right.
That's fabulous.
It's a party.
Well, guys, thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank
Adam
you.
and Deane.
Thank you.
It's great to talk with you and catch up as usual, and I'm sure we'll have you on next year or next time around to hear how it goes. So that's it for this segment. We'll go ahead and take a break. And when we come back, we'll have Elise Doody-Jones, who is the program manager for our Highway Construction Careers Training Program. Welcome back to the Parkland Report. And our second guest today is Elise Doody-Jones. She's a program manager for the college's Highway Construction Careers Training Program, or HCCTP. And she's going to tell us all about it today. Welcome, Elise.
Well, thank you. And yes, it is a mouthful. So we do go with the HCCTP. It does make it a little less painful.
Yes. So tell me about the program. What is the program to a general member of the public that maybe never heard of it before?
Well, it is a training program, a job, or what we'd call a job readiness program designed to help folks get into the construction industry, specifically registered apprenticeships. Registered apprenticeships in the area would be things of your pipe fitter plumbers, your electricians, your iron workers, laborers, and so on. They're all the folks who build our buildings and our roads. The name Highway Construction Careers Training Program comes because we are an IDOT funded program. You know, our goal is to try to help folks build our roads, but really we need builders. We need anyone who wants to build buildings and roads.
Great.
So pre-apprenticeship would be another way to put it. So we train approximately 450 hours per training cycle. We run 2 training cycles per year, one that begins in October and the other one that begins in March. It's pretty intensive. We have a lot of people, our instructors are really highly skilled. Many of them come from the industry. We have retired electrician, retired carpenter. We have Parkland instructors, so we have a couple of embedded college credit courses along with all the other things that we teach. We introduce folks to a wide variety of the trades. We physically go to apprenticeship schools. We say this is what you can, this is what you can gain from this particular trade. So someone may not know what to expect from the electricians, the IBEW trade school. So we physically go over there, they do a little hands-on activity with us, they talk about their trade, what the benefits, the pros and cons are of their trade. Of course, it's always pros whenever they're talking about their own trade. That's what we all do.
Right?
They're selling it. It's loads of fun.
That's great.
Same with the pipe fitter plumbers. They are, or steam fitters. They are located in Savoy. We go to their location. They're very generous with their time as well. We go visit the school for the laborers out in Stanford, and so on and so forth. So we sampler platter.
That's great.
No one comes out an expert in any one particular trade. They take many years to become an expert anyways. We just touch on it so folks can decide what is best for their lifestyle.
You hear a lot about good jobs in the trades and shortages in some areas, in some trades, of needing just more people that are willing to work with their hands and to do the important work that you're talking about related to infrastructure, but just showing what all of those different career paths really are, because if you haven't been exposed to it or you haven't grown up in it, you may not know what all the individual professions are. And one of the things that I've been so impressed with over time is looking at where our students are going, like the placements and jobs that they get. So can you talk about some of the success
Oh, goodness.
successes, which I know there are many,
Yes.
but maybe some recent successes in terms of job placement from our students.
Boy, so we have a couple of folks who are actually starting to what we call journey out. That means they're about to graduate from the apprenticeship program. Since I started here 5 years ago, and it's exciting to see some of those students that they successfully entered 3, 4, 5 years ago, depending on the length of that apprenticeship, and they're starting to become the journey people who train the people who are behind them. One is Marlo has graduated from the apprenticeship for the laborers. That's the laborers are a 3-year apprenticeship. They're the bulk of the people that you see on the highways doing the real heavy lifting. They're kind of the support for all of the other trades. They do everything. And it's an amazing. We've got quite a few folks who've gone into the laborers. Christina is in the operating engineers.
So what does an operating engineer do?
All of the monster machines you see on the highway, the bulldozer, the compactor, it's a compactor, just the big machines.
All the stuff my
Cranes.
son likes, who's 5.
Yes, all the things that when we were kids and we've got them out, the trucks and stuff on wheels, that's what they do. All of the monster cranes out there, and they have an amazing training arena out in Terre Haute, Indiana, and our fall class gets to go and experience that. They're too busy in the spring, unfortunately, to accommodate us at that time, but in the fall we get to go to their training arena, and it's impressive. And it is I believe it's a 5-year apprenticeship program. The equipment is so expensive that they have their cranes are all in Texas. It is cheaper to fly people to that location than it is to have cranes in all the locations across the United States, which is
so highly specialized stuff.
Very specialized, and it's getting more and more digital. A lot of things are GPS run, so you have to have some computer skills as well as the motor skills to run these machines. So yes, we have 3 operating engineers at this stage. We have a young man who graduated. Brian graduated. I want to say maybe it was a year ago. Almost to the date. He was in our fall cycle last year, and he started working in June, I believe, of 2022. And he's out there. He's on I-57, I-74.
A big project right now near the college.
A huge project. So we have a carpenter from our program on that project. We have multiple laborers on that project. Mark is on that project, and Brian is on that project as an apprentice operating engineer. So very excited. We get quite a few folks. We have some folks who come through and they decide that the hands-on aspect isn't actually for them. They might think, oh man, yeah, I want to go be a carpenter or this, that, or the other, and then they find that, construction management's their path. Mm-hmm. And from learning all of land survey, there's so many aspects of construction that people don't realize that. So we try to touch on those items as well. All the huge array of professions within the construction industry. So we don't limit ourselves to just the construction hands-on trades. I mean, that's our main focus, but we understand that some people may find something else within construction, and how do you know it exists if nobody's told you about it?
So if I'm a community member and I'm thinking, well, maybe I should see if I can take part in Elise's program, and it is funded by the Illinois Department of Transportation, IDOT, and so there are some specific criteria. Can you tell our audience about who is eligible, and then what's the deal? What's the time commitment? What's the financial piece of it? So help put that picture together for our viewers.
Of course. So you have to be 18 years old or older, physically capable of doing the work, of course. Have to have a valid driver's license. There's no bus system that gets you to the roads that we're building, right? You have to have a GED or high school diploma credential, as well as be able to pass a test, a math and reading test at the 7th grade level. Okay. And you have to be able to pass the drug screen. That includes marijuana. And I understand that it's legal. However, when you're dealing with that heavy machinery and you're out on the roads, or you've got, big buildings and things are passing you really quickly, you have to have that fast reaction time. So that is one of the criteria that you must meet as well. We pay a $10 per hour stipend, living, to help with your living situation, kind of ease that pain. You can expect to be with us 4 or 5 days per week, depending on the class cycle. We give, and for 14 weeks to 16 weeks in length. Our fall class is typically 16 weeks in length. Our spring, which I call our Fast and Furious class, is a 13 to 14 week program, and that's 5 days a week. Our fall one is 4 days a week, 7 hours a day.
Okay.
You're going to have to repeat your question.
And so who is eligible? Who can participate?
Anyone who's over 18.
Anyone over 18?
Anyone over 18.
Okay.
And the way that you apply is you have to attend an orientation.
Okay.
So I recommend just Googling Highway Construction Careers Training Program, Parkland College. That's one method. And sign up for we have an upcoming orientation on February 10th.
Okay.
That'll be one of the last ones before the March starting class. But we do have orientations throughout the year, typically more the closer we get to the start of class. So you can expect the next cycle will be in July and August of a lot of orientations. You come in, sit for that hour of orientation, and we go through the steps that it takes to qualify for the class, because it is free. It's a free class, there's no cost. We provide work boots for students, and when they graduate, they have they're given a bucket of tools so that they are job ready. So you have gotten your safety training, your, some college credit in there, along with all of the knowledge about the trade, and you can go make your selection, put your application to the registered apprenticeship programs, or just maybe you decide to go here to Parkland College to get your, your career of choice via a 2-year degree, but you're ready to go. And we do have a lot of folks who, the second we graduate, they are either they've been hired by a construction company, or they're on that path to get hired. So within a year, we have about 60% that are working, and then after that, some trades take longer to get into. So it might take a year or two for some of the more difficult trades to get into, because they are competitive, and that's what we're helping you, is give you that competitive edge.
Great. And one of the things I think that really sets your program apart too is that you build in, like in every course, you build in sort of life skills are embedded in the program.
Absolutely.
What are the elements that you introduce to students when they're part of that cohort that's going through?
Well, we try to help folks build a resume, right? Understand the importance of a resume. We have a mock interview, which is really important. It's very frightening to go to some of these situations where you might sit in front of a panel of 6 to 7 people to get accepted into an apprenticeship. So we help folks speak about themselves in a positive manner. We take a look at best ways to manage money, because construction can be seasonal. It's not always, but can be. And so learning how to manage your money in that scenario is really important, and how to get along with one another and how to set goals. Those are some of the life skills that we take a look at. We have several professionals come in and work with our students.
Okay. And how do people find out more? You mentioned Googling, but is it on, you have a place on our website where people can find out more information?
Yes, on community education page. The Parkland, oh boy, I'm going to have to
Parkland.edu?
Yeah, I think
Put
it's
it in the search bar.
Yeah, the Parkland.edu. I think it's /HCCTP.
Well, Elise, thank you so much for being on the show and sharing about your program. It's always exciting to learn more of just about all of the different career training opportunities that people have at Parkland. So thank you.
I appreciate you having me here. Thank you, Stephanie.
You're welcome. Well, that's it for today's episode of the Parkland Report. We thank you for hanging in and learning about all of these different career opportunities and ways that Parkland is making our community a better place. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next episode.